Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today I'd like to talk about water, specifically how to get water from your house out to your shop. So that's why I'm joining you from my kids' art table again. But first, I would be rude if I didn't introduce you to my co-host. This is Panda, 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 and Panda. They get kind of chatty sometimes, but we'll try to keep it to a dull roar today. So, we are in my basement, and if you watched my other video, I built a 30 by 50 shop out in my yard, and in my other video linked somewhere on here when I get around to it, I went through how I went from my breaker box on this side of the basement up and over through the garage, over the attic, across the breezeway, and out to the shop. And that was 100 amp electrical service. Now I want to talk about how I ran plumbing out to my shop. And it's similar but different at the same time, because I didn't run it over the breezeway, I ran it underground. So since I'm down in the basement, let's go ahead and go through that. So here we are on the unfinished side of the basement, and I just came from over there where my kids, where Panda, 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 and Panda are, and this is basically the mechanical room, and this is all my unfinished junk. There's the electrical box, where in the last video we covered how I got my electrical out to the shop, but today we're talking about plumbing. So that all starts here. So we got our water heater going up, and our main hot and cold. They come up and over here, and the hot previously came out and went that way, and the cold came out, went that way. These are 3/4 inch lines, PEX lines, and then the one going this way was only a 1/2 inch PEX line. So what I did was I put 2 T's here. These are just 3/4 inch PEX T's, and I'm running a hot and a cold both out to my shop. So they go down here, they go down the wall, and they go out through the wall and through the yard to the shop. So a couple things. Why do I have these buckets here? Well, I got done with this and I never cleaned them up. But what I wanted a way to be able to winterize the shop if I was ever in a situation where I wasn't going to be home and I didn't want to have a heater on, or who knows. But if you have an exterior building where nobody's going to be in it monitoring it, you want to make sure that you have a way to winterize it. So I ran both hot and cold from my house, just like you would up to a bedroom or something. The only difference is I'm running it down the wall, out through the concrete, and over to the shop. So why do I have these extra valves here? So these two shut off the water to the shop. And then these two here, you can see where it turns and goes out the wall. And I need to, I actually bought some water stop cement to seal these holes, but I never got around to doing it, so it's on my to-do list. But basically the water comes down, these 2 lines go out to the shop, and then these 2 valves are for my winterizing. So all I gotta do is shut these 2 off, open a faucet in the shop so the water can suck in, so the pipes can suck in the air to let the water drain back out, and open these 2 and drain them either into a bucket, or I put a 3/4 inch hose fitting on the end of these so you can put a hose on it and put the hose over like to the sump, and it would just pump it out into the yard. But this way, this is lower than the shop, so if I ever want to winterize the shop, I just pop these 2 open. I take these 2 caps off. This is a belt and suspenders modification right here, so you got the valve. So this is a shut off, and these are capped with nice brass fittings with rubber washers in them. So like, even if somebody accidentally hits this, there's a cap on it, so my basement should not get flooded. but that's how I got it set up inside. This is a weather treated board. I did some research when I was doing this, and everybody says if your board's touching your concrete, you should probably use a weather treated board. It's like $2 extra. So I just had a weather treated 2x6, and I put some, I believe they're called red heads. You just drill and then put in the blue anchors. And then I just use these little plastic clips, and I am not the best at pounding in nails. So I actually converted all of these to screws for whatever reason. Actually, partially it was because I'm always working on this at night and everybody's sleeping and I can't be hammering. So I converted these to screws so I could put them in at night. But anyways, that's for an overview. I'll get over here. So within my basement, I'm coming from the source, going across, down the wall, out to the shop. So let's go to the shop. We're gonna go outside. I'll show you how it goes across, and then we'll go to the shop. I'll show you where it comes into the shop. I shouldn't be showing this in the condition that it's in, but this is real life, so let's talk about it. Now I'm out in my yard. My house is here. My shop is here, and I'm gonna show you where the lines come through and where they go into the shop. Disregard all the junk. I'm actively rehabbing a house, so there's junk everywhere. But let's see this. So this wall, 3 feet down from right here, is where the pipe comes through. We dug it out with a mini excavator. Came across here. Here's my unfinished dirt work from my drains from the shop. And we go up and over here and under the concrete, because I put these in before the concrete was there, and we go through the wall about where that bike stand is. And then notice while we're out here, I've got a super nifty, these are actually really expensive. I think this one was like 80 bucks when I bought it a year ago, but I think they're like more like 100 or 120 bucks now. But it's hot and cold. These are legit. I can't tell you how nice it is to have hot water feeding your power washer or washing the dog with warm water. Works out pretty good. So let's go inside. All right, so now here we are actually inside of the shop, and right outside this window is where we just came from. The spigot is on the outside of the wall over here or so. But the cold and hot lines that are coming from the house come in here, and they come in right here. So supply hot, supply cold, and then each one has a shut off. From there, supply hot comes up through here and goes through the wall into my mechanical room. I've got a 6-gallon water heater in there, and then it comes out of the water heater and goes down into, this is called sink hot, which we'll get to in a second. The cold comes through, another shut off. I convert from 3/4 down to 1/2 inch. This one's going to the toilet. I had to set these in the concrete before the concrete was poured. I don't have any lines in the outside wall of the shop, and that's just another freeze-proof thing. So I have one going to the toilet and one going through to sink cold. So let's go look at those. Let's look at the mechanical room first, because it's first. In here you have the in and the out on the water heater. So this is coming through the wall. This is a 3/4 inch like bulkhead fitting. I found them on the clearance aisle at Menards, like by happenstance, but there's a 3/4 fitting actually fits through there, threads into it, and then I screwed it into studs here, and then I scabbed a board in over here. But this is in, going to the water heater, out, and then the water heater overflow. You can't have PEX within 18 inches of a water heater, to my understanding, and this has all been finalized and passed code and everything. So I got stainless braided lines here. I got a flexible, I think it's stainless steel line here. It goes back there. And then this pan also has its own drain. So it's just a PVC, I believe it's inch or inch and a half. Going down there. And then the hot water overflow, I convert it to copper, goes down to this drain. And the pan overflow goes down here, goes down to this drain. This drain was this room wasn't originally a room. Originally there wasn't a wall here, and the bathroom was going to be a full bath, and this was going to be a shower. And I lost motivation somewhere along the way and decided to put my air compressor in here instead. So I wanted a room I could shut my air compressor in. And then this drain is going to be right where my air compressor drain is. So I'm going to drain my air compressor into there too. So that's kind of cool. But because I was going to put a shower in here, there's a P-trap down there. And then I've got this called a quad drain. It's a multi-purpose floor drain. I've got it in here. And then I've got another, I can link it down below, but it's a one-way valve with like a rubber flap. So like in the case that this doesn't get a lot of water and it starts smelling like the P-trap drains or dries up, then it's got a one-way valve in it, so it prevents sewer smell from coming back up. And I am on septic here, so but this goes through the wall. Well, it goes under, and there's a 36-inch footing all the way around the perimeter of where the bathroom is. So now let's go over to the bathroom. Okay, so here's the bathroom. It's a half bath now. Like I said, originally this wall wasn't going to be here, and that was going to be a shower, but it wasn't worth it. But I've got plumbing. These are the other ends of the lines that I just showed you. You got cold, hot coming up, hot and cold going up to the sink. This is just a Home Depot $199 Glacier Bay cheapo laundry room sink. Comes with the faucet and everything. Has worked out pretty good so far. I wanted to be able to like wash dirty stuff. I still need to put up some kind of backsplash. Again, it's on my to-do list. So they come up, go up to the sink. We got our drain that goes straight down and goes across and joins into the trunk where the toilet drain is. And then you got these two supply lines with valves. These go out to the outside spigot. So that spigot that I was just showing you with the hot and the cold, that's how that looks. And then nothing fancy. It's just a toilet with a line coming through. And yeah, that's not very special. And then this is like where the main drain is. So the sink comes over and the other drain comes over, and they all go down with the toilet. For the drainage in here, I didn't want to run a line out through the roof. So I figured out that you can install a, it's called an AAV, air admittance valve. Sorry, I'm not a plumber, but I know how to do a lot of research. So this is an AAV. It's an air admittance valve. So like you can buy this little case, and then you put this vent, and it's basically a one-way vent, so it can suck in air, but it doesn't let air out. That way you don't get sewer smells in your bathroom. But you also don't have to run a vent all the way out the roof, because nobody wants one more penetration in their metal roof. Like that just It's just not good. So this goes down, the sink joins into it, it goes down under the concrete, over the toilet, and everything's been hunky-dory so far. I'll try to put in a couple of pictures of like when it was getting built, when I trenched the lines, what it looked like behind the wall and under the concrete before we put down all of our concrete. And I'll sprinkle those pictures in throughout this video, and that way you guys can see what it looks like behind the scenes. Hopefully that helps. I spent many hours thinking about how I was going to do this, worrying about whether it was going to meet code or not, trying to come up with different ideas like the air admittance valve. Like as I had the inspectors out, I would talk with them and be like, hey man, this is what my plan, like when they're out like looking at the electrical, I'll be like, hey man, can you look at my plumbing real quick? This is what I had planned out. Is that cool? Is that not cool? Would you allow that? Would you not allow that? And it's amazing how easy it is if you're nice and you ask honest questions and you do your research. No, don't just be like, hey, how do I do this? No, you'd be like, here's the parts, I laid them out, here's what I'm planning on doing. I want your blessing before I glue everything together. And those are very reasonable questions. And when I've asked questions like that, I've gotten very good, helpful answers, usually, from the inspectors. So, they're your friend, they're there to keep you safe. I wanted everything on my building to be fully approved. I opened a build permit. I held the build permit out through the end. Like the whole bathroom, the plumbing, everything was on it and got done and is official. I know when you do research, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, just finish your building and then run your plumbing later and whatever. That's fine, I get it, but like I'm within city limits. We're required to get building permits. I don't want issues if and when I go to sell my house later. Down the road, you know, you go to sell your house and they're like, oh, there's an unapproved bathroom in there or whatever. I didn't want any of that. So everything that I did was in the plans, inspected by the inspectors, done correctly, and I believe in the long run it will be better as a result because I have 36-inch frost footing underneath everywhere there's plumbing. All of my plumbing lines are 36 inches deep or deeper. All of my venting, my intake vents, and all of that stuff is up to code, meets regulations. And if you're gonna do it right, you might as well go all the way and get it approved also. So different strokes for different folks, and that's fine. This is how I did it. Hopefully it helps you. I have a lot of time into planning this out, mapping this out, and getting it approved, making sure it will get approved, asking questions about it, and doing research. So hopefully me going through how I did it will help make it easier for you during your project. So anyways, you get outside and go work on something. Have a good one. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the video. That way I'm motivated to keep making them. Have a good one. Bye.